to speak on the bill, or I'm sorry, Senator Merkley.
I do. Thank you, Madam Chair. And I do have an amendment if it's appropriate this time.
Yes.
And thank you, Senator McConnell, for striving to make sure our children are not exposed to hallucinogenic or it's a bypass of really the cannabis laws elsewhere. So I know that's important work to be done on the hemp. But this 1 year will enable our farmers who are growing hemp currently to produce this year's crop within the existing framework, and we'll have a conversation over the coming year. My amendment number 2, the Agricultural Research Service Amendment, I have 5 ARS stations in my state, and they go to very specific products that are grown in Oregon. We have a wheat farming research station, we have a berry and fruit station, we have a grazing grass and how to recover from grazing lands from wildfires, we have a shellfish station, and I'm missing one. Oh yeah, forest health research. Forests are being a very important product in our state, timber. And what my amendment asks to do is to take and make sure that the funds that we have in the report are in fact embedded in legislation so they'll be spent as intended. I just want to make sure that ARS stations, so important to ag across the country, never become subject to any sort of political pressures or threats. Our farmers depend with so many invasive species, so many both plants and other organisms that are all continuously disrupting our best laid plans for agriculture. We need to do this continuous research, and so this just makes sure that what we're laying out in this particular bill is honored. Thank you.
Senator Hoeven.
So essentially what Senator Merkley's amendment would do, it would say that ARS cannot make any adjustment whatsoever to any of the accounts, and that they have to spend it exactly the way they did last year, whether that makes sense or not. And so we have tried to accommodate him by essentially including report language in there that provides that direction, but to say that they have to spend every single penny of $1.8 billion and they can't make any adjustment on any common sense basis goes beyond what we feel we can do. And remember, we funded ARS with a 2% increase. So all these accounts are funded, right? But to say they're going to have no discretion whatsoever, we don't think works. So what we have agreed to do is we say in section 773, none of the funds made available to the Department of Ag in this or any other act may be used to close or consolidate resources or locations of any existing ag research service laboratories and facilities without prior notification and approval of the Committee on Appropriations of both houses of Congress. So again, we've tried to accommodate this in what I would say is a common sense way. And that's why I do oppose, though I'm trying to accommodate and make sure that Senator Merkley's concern is addressed, I just don't feel that we can take away all discretion at the level that his amendment would, and that's why I do oppose the amendment.
Would my colleague feel...
Senator Merkley.
Oh, thank you very much. Would my colleague consider it a solution if we were to take your report language, which does provide flexibility, and put it actually into legislative language? Because what we have learned is report language has no force of law, but you do have flexibility in your report language. And if we could the intent was to essentially give that a little more like, yes, we want the executive branch to remember that what we're laying out should be seriously considered. And I appreciate the flexibility you put in there.
Yeah, I think that might work. As long as they have some, if they come back to us for approval and it makes sense and we give them approval, something like that could work.
Can I make a on-the-wing motion to instead take the language that's in the report language that Senator Hoeven has put in and put it into the legislative text?
The senator has the right to modify his amendment, and as I understand it, there already is language to prohibit the use of funds to close or consolidate resources or locations for ARS, without House and Senate notice and approval.
Yeah, that's in there already.
Yes, and that's in the report language, right? So we'd be moving that into the legislative language? That's what I'm suggesting, so that language
The provision, well, let's make sure we're talking about the same thing. I think the provision that you actually cited is already bill language. We are not in a position to take your language and make it bill language, because then, as I say, they couldn't move a single penny, whether it made sense or not.
Right. But I think the issue we need to clarify, since I think you agree on the outcome.
Maybe.
Is on not having funds be used to close an ARS office without House or Senate notice and approval. I think the issue is it in the report or is it in the bill?
Okay.
Well,
And
And Mr. Chairman?
his amendment isn't about,
No, he's offering to modify his
Yes.
amendment to track your language, but put it in the bill rather than the report, so that it's more binding.
What we're saying is we're going to keep that in the report, but you have that bill language.
oh,
It's 2 separate.
yeah, I think we're confusing the issue. My understanding of Senator Merkley's amendment is he wants to say for the funding allocated to different ARS stations, it can't be changed, period. The language we have in the bill says, it relates to something actually Senator Durbin and I talked about earlier, and that is that you can't close any ARS facilities without prior approval of this committee and the House Appropriations Committee. Those are two different issues.
But the
Mr. Chairman?
senator's offering to modify his amendment, as I understand it.
Yes, there is confusion about whether the language you cited is in the report or in the legislative text. I like your language. It's so good, in fact, that I'm suggesting we put that language into the legislative text.
Again, that's, no.
I agree.
Now you're talking about a different issue. One's closing offices, one's making sure they can't change how they spend. So now you're offering a different amendment.
I was so persuaded by your
No.
lucid explanation of what we think is in report, but would like to have in legislative text. There is still some confusion about whether that language is where it's located, apparently. But if it's already in legislative text, then I applaud you. If it's not, I suggest moving that part into legislative text.
No, I think that got confused in my write-up when we started talking about, so now you want to go from the funding, now you want to shift horses, and now you want to talk about changing language regarding closure of offices. Is that right?
I'm applauding your language, recognizing that that sounded a lot like what I wanted to accomplish, but I wanted to have the force of law that Congress be consulted before offices be closed. I'm admiring your work
Yeah, I was going
and suggesting we give it a little more punch.
Madam Chair, maybe
Here's Shaheen.
we could ask the staff to work on this for a little bit.
That would be great.
While we finish with the rest of the bill.
Yes.
I think, as I understand what Senator Merkley's asking, he is actually changing what he was proposing in his amendment to what is already in the report language.
Right.
And
Which
it's
you and I
just-
have gone back, which you and I have worked on
Right.
at length.
But the issue, the language you're agreeing to, it's just a question of can we put it into bill text as opposed to
Correct.
to report language. So it's that language.
So this is in the bill. That's the bill one. This is the bill one.
Okay, well, that is being worked out by the staff in the hopes of achieving an agreement.
Yeah, the reason I'm reluctant to do this is we've negotiated this, at length. And so now Senator Merkley's proposed one amendment, but now he's proposing a different amendment and something that we had negotiated for quite a while.
Right.
And ended up with it in there as report language, and that was a compromise we had come to. And that's why I'm reticent. And so I'm perfectly willing to let the staff talk here a little bit, see where they come out, and if there's something else we can take up at the interim, let's do that.
And let's give it a try,
Sure.
and we'll see what
Right on.
happens. I know you have worked very hard on this and that there was bipartisan support. May I ask if there are other amendments to this bill? Is there anyone who wishes to speak on this bill?
What's in the bill language now?
Well, so if you could resolve this issue quickly, we could move to final passage of this bill.
Bill's language. Yes. This is the report. That's the report language. But that may solve the problem,
Do you just want to have them all and speak on it?
The only other thing I'd offer is that at some point, if we can get this through the Senate, we're going to have to go to the House. And I'm trying to keep something that maybe actually works and takes us the distance. Again, Senator Sheen and I have spent a lot of time on this, and that's why I'm a little reluctant to change it at this point.
And both of you have done an excellent job. Senator Merkley.
Thank you. Madam Chair, I do appreciate this language, Section 773, that is in statutory language, not in report language. So that's what I was hoping to accomplish. I wanted also the funding levels, but this at least gets the heart of my concern. We had our scientists at several of our research stations fired overnight and basically shut down the research. They were then rehired after the agricultural community and Senator Wyden and I pointed out how important these scientists were. Research stations are just not something to be messed with politically. I think you've attempted to accomplish that with what is here. It doesn't go as far as my amendment did, but I'll accept that this is hopefully intent that will help carry weight, that the stations not be shut down or if you will, have their funding taken away, given that we've laid out in a table in the bill how we hope the funds will be spent. And as you point out, at least some flexibility, but I think I hear a sense, and I've talked to many colleagues who know how important these research stations are. And if we can carry that spirit in conversations with the executive branch, I'll take that.
Well,
Thank you.
that's why I said you should have great confidence in your ranking member, because she did a beautiful job of negotiating that for you, and I commend her for it.
I commend you both.
Thank you. Well, we're all commending everything and everyone's happy. Seeing no further amendments, I would suggest that the bill be reported by voice vote. Does anyone object to a voice vote?
It's already been approved.
Oh, the good point. We've already done it at the very beginning. So seeing no further amendments, the bill will be reported as amended.